Hi guys, so today we are going to be making this. It looks like a book. That's kind of the purpose. And it's an eyeshadow palette. So these are Ingla eyeshadows in there. And yeah, this is just like another version of one of the other palettes that I've made. And this is a lot easier because you don't have to do anything to the cover. So that's really good. So if you want to see how this is made, just keep watching. Okay, so what we're going to start off with is something to cut on. I don't know where my little mat thing that I cut on usually is, so I'm going to use a cutting board for my kitchen. A ruler or something to measure. I always use this because it's metal and it's heavy and it's just easier to use, and it has an angle, like it has the angle so you get it straight. A razor or an X-Acto knife or something to cut. Foam board. This is just a piece. You can buy this anywhere. This is just a black one. You can get white or whatever color you want, but it doesn't matter because you're going to cover it. A pair of scissors. Duct tape that you like the pattern of, or some kind of like contact paper or something. Magnetic sheet. This looks like this. I get these ones in a pack from Walmart, and they look like that, and they're like $1 or something. And then I'm going to use a duct tape sheet that matches the duct tape that I'm going to use. This is optional, but I like these because it makes it more seamless, you know, so it's not, the pattern doesn't get weird, and that's what it says, in case you were wondering. And you can get this in like the craft section at Walmart, or you can get them, Amazon has them too. I've ordered them from there before. And like I mentioned in my intro, that a book that you like the cover of. So I bought this one from, I think, like Goodwill or something, and it's just like, I don't know if you can tell what it says. It's like an address book, and I paid like $1 for this, but I really liked like the pop art kind of cover, and I liked that it was square. So yeah, these look really cute if you like have them displayed on like a bookshelf or something. They just look like books, and I know a lot of people have problems with cutting covers off books. I don't personally, because I can still read the book, but if you do, this is a good option. You just get like an address book or a journal or something that's very inexpensive, and then the covers are oftentimes very nice too, so then you don't have to cover the front. So this is what we're going to be using today. And I forgot to mention, you will need a glue gun and glue sticks. This is just a cheap one from Walmart. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your book, and we're going to leave the binding on. So don't cut this part like I did in my original palette video. You just want to take all of the papers out. So you're going to cut alongside here, being very careful not to cut the binding. So if you want to bend your book back like that, you can see clearly where to cut. So then that will separate the paper from the binding. And then you do the other side. Okay, so this is what we have. Paper that you can recycle or do whatever you want with, and an empty book. So it's that easy. So then you're going to take your ruler, and you're going to measure how big you want the foam board that's going to hold in your eyeshadows. It's going to like go around it. And what I'm talking about, if you're confused, it's this like little border that goes around. That's what's going to hold them in. And that was a Z palette, in case you're wondering. And I'm going to make mine just a little bit. I want it to cover the whole white of the book. So that's going to be about 7 3/4 of an inch for mine, for these two sides, and then I'll make these two smaller. You can make them so that it's like you can cut them at an angle like this to make them all sort of fit together in that like triangles kind of shape, like you see with square. Like a square, you cut it at like an angle so that the two pieces fit together perfectly, but that's too hard. So I'm just gonna make mine all straight. So this is what mine looks like, and I cut mine about a little less than 1/2 inch thick. That's how, I don't want them to be too thick. And these are all the same size. I haven't measured them to go in yet, but I just wanted to show you what they look like this. They're not cut perfectly. Try to make them as straight as possible, but yep, that's how they look. And I use my razor to cut those. And then you just want to open your book, put them in there, measure them to how far you want them to go. And you want to get them as far back as you can to the binding, to where the binding got cut. So I put mine about right there, if you can tell. That way it doesn't make this so flimsy, but we're gonna duct tape over this, so that doesn't matter. But it looks better when there's not so much of a gap. And then you're gonna cut all yours to fit. Okay, so once you have your pieces, you're gonna measure them. As you can tell, I have 2 that are shorter and 2 that are longer. The longer ones are gonna go on the same end, and then the shorter ones go in between. This is not measured perfectly. I left them a little bit longer so that I can cut them perfectly once I put the duct tape on. So that goes like that. So you're gonna take your duct tape, and this duct tape is cool because it's not sticky right away. You have to actually peel the paper off and then it'll stick. So that's really good for this because we're gonna measure it first. And you're gonna take your little sticks and measure it like that, and then I'm just gonna cut it. And I'm gonna cut my piece of duct tape in half because that's all I need for one side, and then you don't waste as much duct tape. So this is what I have. This is the piece of duct tape that I have for my side, and then you just peel it back and cover it. Okay, so once we have our sticks, we're going to put those aside for a minute. We're going to take our book, and you have to decide which part you want the top and which part you want the bottom. So obviously I want the cover of this book to be the top, so this is where I'm going to put my eyeshadows. So on the other side, where you're not going to put your eyeshadows, is where I'm going to put this sheet, just so that I don't see this white. So you just measure it, or you can use your duct tape that you used earlier. You measure it and stick it on there. And you want to stick it all the way past the binding so you don't see that. Okay, so once you measured, cut your duct tape, and stuck it on there, this is what you have. You just have whatever duct tape you have, so leopard, whatever. And you know, if this silver glitter is really cool, it's holographic. If this is your first palette and you're not super duper crafty, this one's a little bit hard to work with. The leopard one, and some of the other ones are like real duct tape, so they stick really easily, and they're easier to work with because they're super sticky. This one, you have to kind of play with. It's a little bit thinner and it's not as sticky, so just keep that in mind. But this is what it looks like. So now that we've put this on there, you are going to measure your magnets and cut them according to size. I've already done that. So this is like 1.5 sheets, which those magnetic sheets I showed you earlier, they came with 2 sheets. So these both came in 1 pack. So I had already cut off this piece, and you are going to measure and place them. And that's it. And then these magnets, all you have to do is peel off the back and stick them. So that's super handy. And that's our next step. If I can peel this stupid paper off of here. Aha. And they do stick really nicely to this paper book, so there's no extra gluing necessary. Okay, so this is what you should have so far. You have your covered top and your magnetic bottom. And the nice thing about this glitter duct tape that I didn't mention is it's super glossy, so it should be really easy to clean. Hopefully it sticks well enough, but it seems to. It seems to stick better to the glossy part of the book than the paper, but it's really sticky. It's just the binding that can be tricky, but I'll glue it down. So once you've done this, you take your sides, and I'm going to do my 2 long sides first. So you measure where you want them according to how long you made your short sides, or you could just cut them. And then you're gonna glue them down really well with your glue gun. Okay, so I've glued in all of the sides, and that's how it looks. And then you're done. If you're not gonna do anything to the cover, or unless you want to add a magnetic closure, I don't really need to because I'm gonna let this sit on my vanity. And if you're curious, that's what the sides look like. This is not the best for travel because I didn't magnetize it closed or whatever, put magnets in it so it stays closed. But I'm just gonna do a few of these because I kind of want like a bookshelf kind of look. So I've found a few of these books, but I thought I would share because that's a really cute idea. And you could just leave it on your bookshelf. It's a bunch of different books. I found some of my favorite kid books at the thrift store, and I'll be using those. But yeah, that's all it takes, and I'll show you it with some eyeshadows in it. Okay, so this is the finished project. There's my cover, there's the inside, and these are all Inglot eyeshadows. I just put them in there so that you can see that these magnets are definitely strong enough to hold Inglot shadows than pretty much any shadow. And they're super cheap, so that's good, and they're easy to find because there's Walmarts everywhere. Yeah, I can fit another row down here sideways, but I just didn't want to take them out of another palette. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that, and I thought that was a lot easier than my other palette tutorial because you don't have to do anything with the cover. And yeah, I hope you like it. Bye.